guidance for our schools. 237. That's how many notifications school-age kids and teens get on their phones throughout the day, including during school hours. And according to the 2023 North Carolina Youth Risk Behavior Survey, 81% of high school students here said they use social media at least several times a day. Common Sense Media reports students spend a median of 43 minutes of their phone, during school. They're mainly using social media, YouTube, and gaming apps. All of this is prompting the North Carolina Advisory Council for Student Safety and Well-Being to publish its first report, focusing on best practices for public schools to establish policies around cell phone use. Right now, public schools here are not required to limit phone use, but some districts like Brunswick County schools in the Wilmington area have tested programs, sometimes requiring students to put their phones away in magnetic pouches.
I think everybody is more focused when they come into the school, like straight out the gate, because everybody's phones is not a distraction anymore.
So it's working for the students, academically, behaviorally. It's working for our teachers. It's improving their work environment. We were, quite pleased with what we had seen in our 2 middle school pilot programs, and so the decision was taken to put it into all our middle schools.
Usually when these policies are tested, students are allowed to use their phones when they're not learning, so maybe lunch or recess, maybe sometime between classes. But this advisory council is now recommending North Carolina Public District establish policies that eliminate cell phone use from the start of the day all the way to the end. No cell phone use at school all day. The advisory council says this is in the name of student well-being. We've told you before about studies linking excessive screen time use to higher rates of depression and anxiety among teens.
And it seemed if we're going to allow kids to use social media as part of the regular school day, we might be contributing to their poor health, their poor mental health. So we want to be a positive influence on kids, not a negative.
That right there is Charlotte Catholic High School Principal Kurt Telford talking to me when the private school banned cell phones back in 2023 for that same reason, mental health. More than 200 school systems across the country, including several from North Carolina, have joined lawsuits against major social media companies, arguing they have had to spend significant resources to address the deteriorating mental wellness of their students. Now, the Advisory Council says removing cell phones for the entire day will help students better focus on learning while making connections with their peers and teachers. But there are also concerns from families about what would happen during an emergency.
If something's happening, that ability to have your kid contact you and you say to them, it's okay, we know what's going on, I think that needs to be there. There needs to be a healthy balance.
Others say kids not having their phones may actually be more helpful in an emergency.
I think it's a catch-22 because, again, I think if there is some kind of an emergency, parents would be contacted. And I think having a phone in that kind of situation, you have ringers on, that could be a real problem if there is someone in the building who shouldn't be.
Now, the council recommends districts come up with a plan for what they'll do during emergencies to communicate with families and work with law enforcement to make that happen. Their guidance also leaves room for some exceptions like medical, instructional, or learning disability accommodations. So what happens next year? Well, again, only an outline of recommendations. School districts can take what they want. They can leave out what they don't. But there are bills moving in the North Carolina House and Senate that address removing phones from classrooms and schools. If any of those get to become law, public schools will have to comply with that over these recommendations. So we'll keep you updated on what happens. Coming up.